Hello guys, and welcome to this introductory video to Sketchware. So once you have the pro version of Sketchware installed on your device, you can now proceed to opening it. Once you are inside the Sketchware app, the first thing you will see is this screen, right? This is where everything starts and where everything ends. On this screen, you will see the list of my apps, some of my apps. So if you click on this plus icon here, it brings up this pop-up and starts up the process of creating a new app. It's a very simple process using Sketchware to build an app. So the pop-up will ask you to enter the name of the app you want to build. Let's call this my browser. Right? Sketchware is so easy to use that the only thing it requires you on a basic level is just the name of the app and an icon. If you click on the icon, you will be able to select an icon from your gallery. This is just for illustration purposes, so I will just pick any logo here. So let's take this. So this is the logo has been entered. You just enter the name and choose the logo you want to use. And then you can proceed to clicking on create apps. But for the advanced setting, you'll be asked to enter some values here. The first is the color accent, the color scheme of your app, the color accent, color primary, and then color primary dark, color highlight. These are just color schemes that you want your app to be based on. For instance, for this app, the color primary dark is what you see on this status bar here, blue, right? So I can change this to red, and whenever someone opens my app, the basic color scheme you'll be seeing is this color primary here. So the next thing is the package name. So this is very important. The package name is very important when you're building your own app. The package name is just like an identifier, a specific identifier for your app. It is very important to note that no two apps is allowed to have the same package name. You can't install both two apps with the same package name on your device. So the package name is the specific unique identifier for a specific app, right? And basically the package name comes like in names, like starts with com dot something, your company name dot the app name. So you are free to choose, but no two app is allowed to have the same package name with another app, right? So you can choose a project name for this. You should note that this project name is different from the application name. This project name is just a name to. It's a name that Sketchware uses to identify your app on the Sketchware platform. Version control is simply, for instance, you create a version of your app, the first version of your app, and you want to update it, right? You would have to increase the version code and version name for it. So the first version of your app comes with a version code of 1 and the version name 1.0. So if I create another version of my app and I want to update it, I'll just increase it here, change it to 2, and I can change it to 1.1. So that's how you update your app. So two versions of an app cannot have the same version code. This is a version control mechanism. So I'll just leave it at this, like this, and then proceed. Basic thing you need is just to set the app logo and the app name. So click on create app, then it loads. Once it loads, your app is being loaded as the default setting, right? When you first create an app, right, this is the first thing you are being presented with. This is where everything happens, and this is where you do the magic. This is where you do all the magic, right? You are being presented with a blank screen here. Then we have on this screen three very important tabs. On the left of the screen is a vertical bar where you have components, views that you'll be dragging and dropping into the main palette in this your screen. So whatever it is you need on your app, you just drag from here and drop in here. You drag from here and drop in here. So this is what I mean by a simple drag and drop platform that helps you build app on your smartphone without any complex coding and XML coding knowledge, any view at all, and drop. So this Sketchware has almost every view you want to use to build a standard app, and everything is already here. Just all you need to do is drag and drop into this palette. The next tab after this view tab is the event tab. So this is where you handle all your events. There are two ways to attach an event to your app, right? So this activity, you see here we have different tabs also where you can click on. So the first one is the activity. The first event you see here is the onCreate event. This is a default event that comes with every new app you create, right? You can add more, but this is a default one that comes with it. So the onCreate event is called when your app first open. That's why it's connected to one activity. Later on you will understand what an activity is, what a component is, and what all of this is all about. The onCreate event is the first event being called when your app is opened. So the concept is events are called when something happens, right? Here you have this button, right? You want to manage what happens when someone clicks on this button. You come to the event tab, right? Come to views, then you click on this plus sign here. You will see different views, different views here, and then you look for the buttons you added and then add the kind of event you have. A particular view can have different events. So for this button we have on click event. That's what the event that is being called when someone clicks on this button. And we also have the on long click event. Once someone clicks the button for a long time, let's say 3 seconds, you want something to happen, you use this, so you add it. So when you select the kinds of events you want to add, you add them here. So there are other very simple ways you can do this. You don't need to come this far to that. So this is the button I want to use. Once you add any view here, right, you see something coming up here. This is where you design and customize the view. You can customize the view that is selected here. So inside this pop-up that is drop down bar here, you will see the 3 tabs also about basic, recent, and events. On the basic section, you are given the option to customize your app, right? So these are terminologies we will be covering in the next video. The UI terminologies, the width, height, padding, all these things are basic, but we will also still cover it in the next video. So for instance, you want to change the text of your button from material button, let's say send. Let's change it to send. Then come back, you see it's changed already. So click on it again. If you want to change another thing, let's say the color, go to background color, change it. You can choose from different colors here. Let me choose pink. So you go back, you see it's changed to pink, right? So when you click on the view, the second most important tab is this event here. And on click here, it opens a new page where you'll be able to organize and construct the logic behind the button being clicked, right? So on this bottom here, you will see this button. It brings up a list of all the components you will need to create a logical process behind every view. So this button here brings up all the things you need to create a reasonable logic behind your view being clicked or a certain event happening in your app. On the right side of this, we have the different logical components you would want to use to build up your app. All of these have their meaning and uses. I will extensively explain each of these and what they are used for in subsequent videos. So this video is just for you to show you around the Sketchware app and to show you what you need to know for the basic level. So when I click on anything on the right hand side, it has been expanded on the left hand side. So let's click on list. You see where you'll be able to add list. You click on control. You will be able to have different things you want to use to control. So this is also drag and drop. You can drag anything from here and drop it into the main board here. This is the main board. This is the main section where you create the logic behind the app. So when button 1 is clicked, what do you want to do? Just look for anything you want to do around this section. So let's say I want to show a message on the screen that says button clicked. So I go to component. You have to familiarize yourself with this so you know where whatever component you're looking for is. It's very easy. You will familiarize yourself with the positioning of each of these components when you practice more. If you want to show a message on the screen, you use what is called a toast. A toast. It's like a short pop-up on the screen. So you just drag it from here and then drop it here. Toast. What do you want to show on the screen? Click on this here, and then enter what you want to show on the screen. So I want to show button clicked, right? You click on save. So this is the logic now. When button 1 is clicked, toast button clicked. Toast is a message, a pop-up message, right? Very simple, right? Very easy. That's just the simplest logic you can explain here. So I want you to notice something here. This is the shape of logic in Sketchware. So once you carry something from here and drag and drop it here, notice how the shapes are being added. They add up together. It's like you are stacking blocks of logic. So if I pick something, the next one, it has to be of this same size, and then plug it at the bottom of the last one I added. So we already know it's a general concept that a logic runs from the top to the bottom, right? So everything from the top is being read down to the bottom. Everything is executed from the top to the last. So it's like a stack of logic, a stack of instruction. You keep piling up and giving instruction to Sketchware to organize your logic for you without any coding knowledge, right? So you can add more. You don't just pick and add, but you pick based on what you want to organize. Everything will be explained in more detail when we take a practical example to create a WhatsApp status saver and a browser app. So in that practical, you'll be able to see all of this in practical use. So let's see how this goes when so you can, and if you want to remove something from your palette of logic, you can just click on it. You can drag it to any part of the place. You can delete, copy it. If you want to duplicate it, you duplicate. If you want to delete it, you delete. You want to add to your collection. Your collection is where you store palettes of code blocks. So if I want to delete this, I'll delete this. Delete. So let's see what we get from this. When button 1 is clicked, toast button clicked. 2. I want to show a message that button is clicked when this button is clicked, right? So I go to events, then pick on click. Inside the on click, it opens this section for me. This is where I'll be able to organize what happens when the button is clicked. So what I just did is to look for toast, and toast is found in component. I dragged toast from here and I dropped it into this place, and then type in what I want to show on screen, right? And do not forget, I said it's a stack of blocks. So if I pick the next block, I add it here. It's like you're building something, and they have to fit in. You can't just drop it here and then, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to fit it in. It's like a Lego game where you build something out of scratch. You remember those toys we used to play with when we were kids, that you would carry blocks and try to build something out of it? It's also like the same thing here. You just pick and then fix. You pick and fix. Once it shows that black sign, you leave it. Then pick another one here. You pick and take it closer to the last place. Then you drop it. Once it shows that black sign, you leave it. Means it has been fixed. So your code will be executed. So we don't need all of this. So I'll remove it and delete. So what I want to do is to show the toast when the button is clicked. So once I do that, I just can go back. Now this app does nothing, only that when I click this button, it will show a message on the screen. So let's run that and see what happens. You click on this run to test your app. So it's going to load and build your app. Once it's done, it will ask you to install it. It showed. If I click on run, notice, look at what it does. I left it purposely to this section so that you understand what it will show. If it show log compile, it means there's something happened and your app is not loading. All these errors are just like, these are errors, right? So there's one thing I purposely did not show you at the beginning. You have to go to this section, this tab. I won't explain every section of it for you. First, you go to the library, then you see app compact and design. Currently it's been switched off. That is the reason why our app did not compile. So just click on enable and return back. Now when we click on run, this should run very fine and no glitches. So I just did that purposely so that you'll be able to see what you need to enable. So once you start building your app, before going to add all of this, just go to this section and enable this app compact and design. So now you can click on run, and then it should open finally. It's going to process. While it's processed, you can answer this question to get yourself familiarized with Sketchware. So it asks me the item in the list are ordered by time saves. You can create a pop-up message using dialog component, which is, of course, is true, right? So when it shows this, usually doesn't take time much as this. It's going to take a while, just a few seconds. So once it's done building, it's going to ask you to install your app. So this is your app. You've built your first app, right? Now you can install to see what it looks like. Now once it's done installing, you can click on open. So this is the app we just configured with Sketchware. Remember, all of this I dragged and dropped them into this place. This button, this text, and then this button. Let's test out the event we activated on this button. So if I click on this, you see the button click. This is the message I was talking about. You click again, button clicked. Click again, and then each time this button is being clicked, it pops up this message showing button is clicked. We successfully created this app and gave it an event. So let's proceed into more advanced features and explanation. Of course, we wouldn't just build an app to click and to show button click, right? We want to build something tangible, something useful to yourself and people around you. This section that I have not explained is just an extension of the ones I've already talked about. This is where you come to access advanced or added features of the Sketchware app. I would show you and explain more of this in the third video from here, right? I want you to understand some things that I will explain in the next video before I talk about all of this. You should by now have gotten the basic of the Sketchware app, right? You've run your first app, you've built your first app, so now it's time to go into more detailed, advanced, but yet simple ideas, simple topics that will enable you build apps on your smartphone. You can now proceed to the next video.